looking for something else. Yeah, it looked like a third game in 5 days a lot of times out there. And we called Long Beach. They've had a heck of a travel schedule as well, being in Wichita Sunday night and then flying to Charlotte and busting down here. But you got to win some games ugly, and they had something to do with making us look ugly. We've got to still do a better job on the offensive backboards. They had 13 points on offensive rebounds in the first half, but you know, they have more opportunities. They didn't shoot it well. In the second half, they shot it a little better and only got 4 points in the second half. But Joel Berry was really good. 7 for 10 from the floor, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover. Didn't like him getting the 2 fouls in the first half. Had to manage because he had 2, Tony had 2, Isaiah had 2, and tried to get to halftime with everybody just having 2. And that got some other guys some minutes, but it was good. We had 9 guys play 17 or more minutes. First 10 minutes of the second half, other than Isaiah's dunk on the fast break on the lob, well, it was about as bad offensively as I've seen us in 31 practices and 3 games and 1 exhibition. But again, we were more gifted and made enough shots. And again, I think that they made us look bad on the backboards. We've got to find a way to cure that. We've always been a great rebounding team, and I know you look, and we've got 45 rebounds to their 33, but I always look at margin, number one, but how many points they get on offensive rebounds, so we've got to do a better job there. But again, 7th had 17 minutes, Kenny had 17, Tony had 18, and would have had more if he hadn't been in foul trouble in the first half, so I like that.
When you mentioned being aggravated with the way the team played offensively in the second half, is it a sloppiness? Is it a lack of attention to detail? Was there something that you're trying to tell that group, say, hey, you have to do
It was
better on
both
this?
of those things. It was sloppiness and it was inattention to detail. All right, and you know, Kennedy can't post up and stay in there the whole time. He's got to get out so we can have some space to drive. And he was in there, and Isaiah never went in there because he thought Kennedy was in there all the time. And then Justin started driving from the wing, and Kenny Williams cut in, and his man ran into Justin. So spacing was really bad. Movement was really bad, and that's what caused the spacing to be so bad. But the good news is we've got a couple of days that we can practice a little bit, and then 1 game and then another day that we can practice before we get to Maui. But again, 3 games in 5 days is not easy, and losing Luke and not having Theo to start with does make us a little short, and so we spent quite a bit of time with Justin as a 4-man, and I liked his line where he looked down there and 6 for 13 is not great, but he missed his first 3 or 4, but he also had 10 rebounds, so I like 14 points and 10 rebounds, and he had to spend more time at the 4 than I would like for him to spend.
Understanding that you're not pleased with the rebounding situation, do you at least look at the fact that you've got other guys in your bigs that are contributing? I mean, Justin with 10, I think Joel had 6, and Kenny had a bunch
had 5,
too.
yeah.
So, I mean, does that at least balance out a little bit?
Well, it does, but still, I look at the team first, and they had 13 points on offensive rebounds in the first half, and we only had 9. And we're bigger, and their big guys were in foul trouble. Now, again, they shot a bad percentage, so they're going to have more opportunities, but we need to box out better. That was probably the thing. I think that even in one of the other games where we were really bad rebounding, it wasn't just the big guys. We've got to do a better job of team rebounding. I got on Brandon, I think, one time because he's taking off on the break and it's a long rebound. They get it, and then they ends up getting Tony his second foul, or he'd have been able to play 4 or 5 more minutes in the first half. So it's everybody right now.
Did you like to start defensively the first 10, 12 minutes or so?
Yeah, you know, I knew they didn't score for a long time, but I never looked at the clock. We had 29 or something like that, and they had scored by then, but I knew they were not scoring. We were doing some good things defensively, but I was a little disappointed in the pride of not letting a guy just drive you to the basket. Isaiah went out on 0, and Levin's pretty good, and he drove him all the way to the basket and went on the other side and laid it up. So Isaiah let him make a straight drive, but where was the help? We should have had somebody crossing the lane. We should have had somebody helping the helper, and it's a drill we do every day. 31 practices, we've done it every day, and so those kind of things we got to get better at.
Well, any idea how long Luke's going to be out?
No, he's got a sprained ankle. We know that. It's a mid-sprain, I think is what they're calling it. It usually means it's more than just a regular sprain. The higher up it goes. My guess is that there's no chance that he'll play in any level in Hawaii. It's just a guess, but it's a pretty strong guess. So I'm guessing in probably 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll be surprised if he comes back earlier, but if it's that long, I think that's what I should expect.
Does that make it a challenge with Justin's minutes?
Yeah, I took him out early today and said, you're gonna stay here 2.5 minutes and you're gonna go back in as the 4 spot. And again, we only have 4 big guys to start with, and we had gone through the first 8 or 10 practices with Justin and Theo playing some as the 5th big guy. And then Theo got hurt, now Luke's gotten hurt, so it's, I don't know who's gonna be right now, Justin's the 4th big guy, and I don't know who the 5th one is. So there's a lot of adjusting. We got to stay out of foul trouble.
What's been the evolution for Joel Berry after Marcus leaving and making kind of the team his own and that kind of thing?
Well, I think the biggest thing that he had a heck of a year last year. I mean, he was a big-time player. He was the MVP of the ACC tournament, so that gave him a great deal of confidence. And then what he did is over the course of the summer, he continued to work, put in the time, shooting the basketball. I told him I didn't like him getting the second foul because the first and that second was just silly foul. And then he ran the guy down from behind, which I loved, but it would have been a call of blocking the back if it was a football, so it was a foul. But, he's really worked hard on his game. He listens. He tries to do what he wants, what I want him to do. Basically, he's been setting the tone of the defense by getting out and pressuring the guy without fouling. And his first 3 games, he's had a heck of a start.
Can you sense that the guys are looking at him?
I think they did last year, though, Andrew. I believe that, again, he was the MVP. He wasn't chopped liver last year, so it's not a new thing. I think last year at the end of the season, everybody looked for him to do things. Marcus, so many times, penetrating, gave him the ball because Marcus thought he was going to make the shot. But so far, it's a good start, but there's a lot of games.
He had 20 points in the national championship game, but
Yeah.
nobody ever remembers that because
I mean, again, he's not chopped liver.
Is it different without Marcus though here, is what my point is.
It's different for Coach Williams without Marcus.
But for him, the guys looking at him as being the guy.
I don't know. I hope I never have a team that somebody looks for it. The guy is the guy. You guys have heard me say that before. I like 5 guys in double figures and play, and the guy that is the guy will step up and be willing to make the play. But I think if you're all the time, and we lost the game because somebody was waiting for Marcus to come around on a screen, Kennedy didn't set a screen. That's what you get. And I guess I'm disagreeing with you, but he's a heck of a player now. He was a heck of a player last year, but his leadership by example is better than his leadership talking wise. So he's good.
Have you guys accomplished what you wanted to in the first couple games,
Well, yeah, we won.
other than wins?
But we got to get better defensively. I'm disappointed, frustrated that, again, that same play, that Isaiah gets a guy, and the guy drives 20 feet to the basket and lays it up on the other end. Goes underneath the basket and lays it up, and it was a straight drive, which we try to say make it a banana drive. Luke was driving straight to the basket, but he didn't have any help in there, and it wasn't just 3 freshmen in the game.
Fortunately, from 7th tonight, it seems like he had some tough minutes there in the second half when they were on a run.
The 7th is still a freshman. I'm not calling him 7th because I haven't seen the guy that I recruited show up yet, but he's going to get here. But he did have 6 assists. If I'm not mistaken, yes, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. But when he gets completely healthy, because he's been battling little nagging injuries, the whole thing. But I do think that we really need him to be a player, and need him to be a player that I think he can be.
Anybody else?
Roy, what will be different without Coach Robinson on the bench able to make the trip?
We did it in Tulane. Weren't happy about it. It's uncomfortable for me. I mean, this is year 22. I think he passed Coach Holliday. I think Joe was with me 21 years, or 20 or 21, and so I'm comfortable with him. The guys are comfortable with him. I hate it because we're not going to a place where there's 24 feet of snow and wind. It's a nice place to go, and we've had some good moments in the Maui tournament. We won a couple of them, and but I'll miss him from a personal viewpoint. But you got to take care of his body. I mean, he had a great line today. He said if it was going to happen, he wished it had happened next week. And he could have stayed in Hawaii for a month. He still got a sense of humor. He's all right there.
What can a trip like this do for just team development, intangibles, all that kind of stuff?
I've always thought going on the road for an extended time period helps your team chemistry if you're successful. If you're not successful, sometimes it shows the warts. But if it's really good and you're not successful and the teams pull together, it's even stronger though than it would be if you're successful. But I like the fact that our guys are together and spending time together, getting to know each other a lot more, going to Pearl Harbor, make sure they understand some of the things that went on in history. And so I like the things, not just because I like Hawaii, but we do go to Maui every 4 years for a reason. The head coach likes it.
Thanks, everybody. Close.